All right, today's Thursday, June 27, 2019, and we're going to be talking about this Red Rocket rolling chassis. I got the owner of the car here, and we're going to go over a little bit of detail on what it took to build this piece here, and the amount of work involved. Now, me personally, I've had one wrapped frame. It wasn't molded, and I attempted to mold my own frame back in like '99 when I was like 19 years old, and that was wishful thinking. So I know firsthand the amount of work that goes into this. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just look at it and don't really understand what they're looking at or the amount of time that it took to get this frame or any metal work to this stage. So let's start with how long you've been working on this.
Man, the frame, I think from start to finish, it took me just about 2 years.
2 years.
Start to finish.
Okay.
Yeah, and we started out, I actually got a parts car from my buddy. He gave me the whole parts car, and it had this frame in it. And it's an original Canadian frame.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, there's X frames that are Canadian frames that come boxed all the way to the back.
Right. So a Canadian frame is not gonna, I mean, this is already molded, of course, but a Canadian frame is gonna be C-channel from about that body mount back, hollow C-channel.
Canadian frame is boxed.
I'm sorry, a non-Canadian frame is gonna be C-channel. Canadian frame is boxed from that body mount back to here.
All the way to the back. So that is what I originally wanted to start with, was a Canadian frame.
It's a little stronger.
It's a little bit stronger. Has a few little different things than a regular X frame. And after I got the X frame,
yeah, we got the ghetto board out here, even though we're on a farm.
On a farm.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, I got the frame. You know, I stripped it. I took it to go get sandblasted, and I took it to a buddy named Albert with Fine Line Hydraulics.
Fine Line Hydraulics out of Houston.
Out of Houston, Texas, yes. And I told him, hey, I want you to wrap this frame fully wrapped because I'm gonna hop this car. So I want it built to hop. And he did exactly what I asked him to. And when I got the frame back, you know, when he was done, you know, I sat the frame in my garage, you know, bare bones, and you know, I really thought about it. I was like, man, I can powder coat it the way it was. You know, you can see the welds all the way through the frame, and I just wasn't happy at that point. So I was like, nah, man, I gotta mold this thing. And maybe had I asked him, you know, to put some heavier welds to mold it, he would have. But I mean, that's not what I asked for. So I pretty much had to re-weld the whole frame to build up all these edges, all the way through the frame.
Enough to mold it.
Enough to mold it.
Okay.
And the top part of the frame is molded round. Mm-hmm. And the bottom of the frame is molded short.
Yeah. And a more sharper edge.
Yeah, it's sharp all the way on the bottom. So that took me quite a while. I went through about maybe 150 flat discs.
Wow.
And maybe more. It was a mess.
At like $2 a piece, probably?
Yes, about $2 a piece. The best place to buy flat discs, and what you want to do is you want to get a 80 grit flat disc.
Like a tiger disc?
A tiger disc.
Okay.
Yeah. And they sell them by the pack on eBay. eBay sells them the cheapest, and it's the same exact thing you can find like at Harbor Freight, but the Harbor Freight are like $5 a piece.
Yeah.
So you're gonna spend a lot of money if you do that on Harbor Freight. So go to eBay and buy you a pack of 50 if you can. Buy as many as you can. If you can buy 100 pack, buy 100 pack, because I guarantee you're gonna use them all.
So usually when people buy a wrap frame, like there's a few places in the country that can do it. I mean, I know I've seen them as cheap as like $2,500, not molded.
Not molded.
If you want them molded, that's like another $1,000. And it's probably, I mean, for a full-time job, That's probably like a solid week of flap disc work for $1,000. You think you can, if you were to work 10 hours a day on this thing, you can mold it in a week?
No.
Longer?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So $1,000. So $500 a week to pay somebody to do it.
I wouldn't do it for that much.
Right.
After doing this, I would not do it for that much. Nope.
So you gladly pay somebody to do that?
If you can find somebody that you can pay to do it, then yeah, go ahead. But you're gonna spend some money.
Okay.
But I mean, I wouldn't do it for that amount.
So you got this frame from Fine Line. Fine Line is a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And then you had to do a little bit of touch up just to get it to your liking.
Yeah, I re-welded the whole frame, and so I built up all the welds, and then I molded it.
Okay.
Yeah, through and through, all the way front to back.
Body mounts and all.
Body mounts and all, everything. Yeah, because the wrap, whenever I got it back, the wrap was like up to here, so I had to fill up all of this, all these edges, all these edges here, every single edge.
Rounded it off.
Rounded it off.
All that.
Yeah, the whole thing.
The frame horns were the bumper bolts. Radiator support.
So this is a whole nother story. It had original frame horns when I got it, and I just did not like them. So what I did, these are C-channeled originally.
Mm-hmm.
I welded in the bumper bolts,
Mm-hmm.
and then I welded in a cage nut, and then I sealed all this off. I boxed all this, so now we have a cage nut in here, and it has a little bit of play, which you will need whenever you bolt in your core support or radiator support. And then the bolts are dead on in the center. And for the bolts, what I did to weld them in is that I put the bolt and then I tightened it. I tightened it on this side so it can stay right in the middle, and then I welded around them. Welded around them. And then I sealed that stuff on the inside with the rust preventative, and then I boxed it all in, the whole thing.
Both sides.
Both sides, yeah. And
so like you said, you're gonna want, this is tight, but
that's tight.
You're gonna need play.
Yes, you need that play, and the cage nut will give you that after you weld it in.
Because you're talking about that controls your radiator height, your hood, the way your hood closes, the way your fender.
The alignment on the fenders, the alignment on the hood.
Yeah.
And you need a little bit of play on that.
Sure.
And you can add a bushing or you can take it off. Most cars will not need that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would say it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Some will need it and some won't need it.
Yeah.
So, I have it there, just in case.
So once this thing was all molded.
Once I got it all molded, well, another modification that I did was the extended shock mounts. That
Actually, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because
that didn't come with the frame.
Because me and my buddy made these here at the house, at my house, before I met you.
Yeah.
He had a CNC machine, and I told him to go ahead and bring it over.
Yeah.
And we were just messing around one day and looking for things to make, and we made these shock mounts. And all it was just a cutout like that.
Just one flat
it's
cutout.
flat piece.
Yeah.
And I think we made 2 sets, and I don't know what happened to the other set.
The second set are the gussets.
Oh, so you bought both sets?
I bought one set, and then one set, the extra set, it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Al gave them to me.
Gotcha.
So the same guy I got the frame from is the one who suggested this. And the reason we went with the extended shock mounts is so this thing can sit as low as possible with the shock. And these shocks will extend all the way up.
Yeah.
So
the story was that we made these here at the house, and I think we sold them to Al, and then Al ended up giving them to you or sold them to you or whatever.
Right. I think you know what? I think he gave them to me.
Okay.
He might have given them to me, yeah.
So the theory behind that is, the further out in the middle you can put the shock mount, the lower the frame can sit.
Right.
If the shock was like in the stock position, which would be somewhere around here, it's not going to allow you to lay low in the back.
Yeah. So this thing would be about this much higher.
Right.
So I wanted to get it low as possible. So I welded in the extended shock mount, and then I welded in 2 gussets, one on each side, and then I molded. I filled in. I welded all of this, welded all this, same on the bottom, and then I molded it all in.
So there's no way that's breaking.
There's no way, man. You can literally lift up the whole car by this little piece right here.
That's ½ inch.
Yeah, it's just really strong. So, and the measurement for that, I remember the measurement. You got to measure it from right here to right here is exactly 12 inches. That's where you want to weld in this
the shock mount,
the extended shock mounts, 12 inches exactly.
So we got the frame bare metal molded. We got the shock mounts bare metal molded, and then you sent it for powder coat.
What else did I do to it? Yeah, after I got everything molded, Yeah, I took it to the powder coaters, and they re-sandblasted it again, and then powder coated it, and you know, I picked it up.
Okay, so you got it back, and then the front suspension.
Yeah, well, I had to fit in, well, another mistake that people make, and that I would have made, you know, if I didn't know or read about it. Before I powder coated anything, before I chrome plated anything, you gotta test fit everything, because I guarantee you, if you get a reinforced frame and a reinforced control arm, it's gonna hit right here. This arm is not gonna close all the way down like the way it is right now. It's gonna sit about.
I remember on my 62 it rubbed right here.
Yeah. So you gotta test fit everything. So I had to shave this down. This is all reinforced, and this is obviously reinforced. And I had to cut this. You can see where it's a little bit lower right here. And you gotta do that to both sides. So double check that before you do any chrome, because man, you're gonna have to re-chrome. You're gonna have to cut.
It's going to chip your powder coat, all that.
Or if you're going to have to re-powder coat something, and it's a pain in the ass.
Not only that, but when you would ride, if you were to lock the car up,
it'll be rubbing.
It's going to rub.
It's going to be rubbing.
It's going to limit the travel of the cylinder.
Exactly. That's exactly what it'll do.
No, well, I take that back. It'll allow it to travel. It's going to put a lot of bind on the ball joint.
On the ball joint, yes. Yes.
Okay.
And then I found these energy suspension slim bushings.
Those are cool.
Those are cool. So, and they come with they're threaded, you know, with the bolt. And then you just put it in that. So all I had to do was drill a hole through there, and whenever the car's locked up, it hits the control arm. None of this hits, nothing else hits. It hits right here, and they're real slim. They're maybe about not even maybe a half inch from here to the bottom.
Yeah.
But man, this will save you, and you won't get all that clacking when you lock up your car. You can hear a lot of people clack clack. You know, whenever they're lifted.
Yeah.
This will be a real quiet lift.
Quiet.
Real quiet. You'll lock it up, and it'll hit this, and you won't get no noise.
So who did the A-arms?
The A-arms were extended by Albert.
Fine line.
Fine line. Yeah.
And then you molded them?
And then I molded them, I polished them, and then I took them to the chrome platers.
So you polished these, then dropped them off to chrome. You polished them yourself?
Everything that's chrome, I polished it myself. And when I got to the platers, they were pretty damn impressed. Man, it was a lot of work.
Okay.
It was a lot of work. It looked damn near chrome before I took them to even get chrome. So I pretty much did their job.
So those are Impala arms, uppers and lowers.
Uppers and lowers.
With G-body ball joints.
Yes, so these were re-drilled before I chromed everything and fitted with the G-body ball joint, supposedly unbreakable is what they call them.
Napa unbreakable ball joints.
Yes. And then the arm was extended. I even molded them on the inside, so you cannot see the extension, but they're molded 1.25 inches.
Okay.
An inch is fine, but I just wanted a little bit of a tuck.
Yeah.
So I went 1.25 inches, you know, without, you know, completely ruining my tires every time.
Sure.
2 inch, ruin your tires.
Yeah. You can't
1 inch is perfect. 1 inch is plenty. I went just an extra quarter. But yeah, so the original Impala control arms, G-body ball joints, unbreakables, what they call them. And then on the bottom, I had to cut off the piece where you push in the ball joint on the G-body control arm.
Yeah.
And weld that on here and then reinforce.
So the lowers are pressed in.
The lowers are pressed in, which were hell to do.
So you got Impala uppers, G-body ball joints, G-body spindles.
Yes.
Brake calipers.
Brake calipers and rotors.
And rotors.
And all this has been powder coated. The rotors, obviously not where the brake pad will be touching, but the rest of the rotors powder coated. The spindles are powder coated. They got chrome bolts. The dust shield is chrome plated. The bolts for the dust shield are chrome plated. The nuts for the ball joints are chrome plated. The castle nuts are chrome plated. I greased this before I put this fitting on. I thought it was a pretty good look, you know, to hide the bolts. And this Allen bolt goes down to where you would put the
Zerk fitting?
The Zerk fitting for the grease, yeah. I chrome plated the bolts. Let me see. You got these 3 bolts that hold on the CPP 500. I chrome plated the cap, and I got Allen bolts for it. And then I recessed this right here. It has a recessed bolt for the bumper.
Little I know what you're talking about, side bracket type
deal.
Yeah,
the side bracket. If you look in there, there's a nut in there. So
okay.
And then I did the same with these bolts right here. What else did I do to this frame?
So this frame, maybe when we're done here, we'll take a walk around the back and we'll compare it to the stock rolling chassis that I got.
Sure, because that's exactly what it looked like when I got it.
So front end, you got molded upper A-arm, molded Impala uppers and lowers, G-body unbreakable ball joints,
Yeah. And
upper and lower, and then G-body disc brake kit.
Yes, and then I have a 8-inch competition cylinders with the half-inch fittings. Which I need to turn these.
Yeah.
Oh, and also I welded in the pipes for the cylinder. I had to weld in these pipes, and that was quite a task because you have to, before you powder coat, before you chrome, you have to put this whole front end together, and then you got to put the weight of the frame under the control arm to see where the cylinders are going to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you leave the pipe loose. You leave the pipe loose with all the pressure on the lower A-arms. And then once you do that, you can tack in the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put weight down here on the bottom of the A-arms, and what I did, I sat the frame on a jack stand right here on each side to get weight on the springs.
To mimic,
and see where the cylinder would fall and what angle it's going to be at, because it's going to be at an angle. It's never going to be straight.
Right.
If this thing is straight, man, you best believe that thing's going to be in a bind.
Yeah.
It's going to be in a real nasty bind. So it has an angle. So
just the geometry of the spring is at an angle.
It's at an angle completely.
Yeah.
So you put the weight of the frame on the bottom of the A-arms, and then you see where everything lands, and then you tack the pipe.
Yep.
You disassemble everything, and then you weld all this up and then mold it in. And that's what I did. And I couldn't find pipe that actually would fit a cylinder. So I had to get a 12-inch pipe. I cut it in half, and then I got the pipes machined at a machine shop to fit the cylinders before I even did any of that. And then these ears were completely reinforced.
Yeah, I see that.
And then I cut the holes here with a hole saw. And for a hole saw, always use a little bit of oil, because that thing will make your hole saw last
Yeah.
forever.
Let's pause it and we'll come back.
Sure.